Before we begin, I want you to do something. Close your eyes. Picture a snow-covered forest. No roads, no phone signal. Just silence. Now picture something standing at the tree line. Tall, bone-thin, watching you. You blink, and it's gone. But you feel it, don't you? That sense of being followed. That's how it starts. This is the Wendigo. The legend of the Wendigo isn't just some old campfire tale. It's far older. It comes from the oral traditions of the Algonquian-speaking peoples of North America. To them, the Wendigo wasn't just a monster. It was a warning. The Wendigo represents starvation, isolation, the collapse of morality in the face of desperation. You go out into the woods in winter. You run out of food. You watch your friends grow weaker. And then you hear it. A voice calling your name from just beyond the trees. That's when it begins. Now, the classic image, 15 feet tall. Skeletal, antlers sprouting from a half-decayed skull. Flesh clinging to bones like wet paper. Eyes black and bottomless. A voice that sounds like someone you love. But twisted. Wrong. But here's the thing. Not all Wendigo stories agree on what it looks like. And that's because it doesn't have one form. It becomes what you fear, what tempts you. And once it finds your weakness, it never stops hunting. Let me tell you about an old case. Winter 1878, northern Alberta. A Cree man named Swift Runner walks out of the forest alone. He'd gone in with his wife, 6 children, brother, and mother-in-law. None of them came back. He said they starved. But Swift Runner was healthy, too healthy. When they found his camp, the bones of his family were scattered around the fire pit, cracked open, cooked, he confessed, but not to murder, to possession. He said the Wendigo came to him in dreams, told him to eat, told him it was the only way to survive. His execution was swift, but before he died, he told the priest, "It waits in the cold, just beyond the trees, watching." You might think that's the end of it, but the Wendigo didn't die with Swift Runner. A Cree shaman named Jack Fiddler was arrested. He claimed he had killed 14 Wendigos. Some of them were still human when he struck. His brother said they were changing, growing silent, paranoid, ravenous. They both died in prison. But their village? It's said that no one goes near it in the winter. Because at night, something howls. Something too big to be a wolf. And it calls to you in your own voice. Now fast forward. Modern times, you'd think the stories would stop, right? They haven't. A backcountry ranger in Minnesota goes missing. They find his cabin undisturbed. Food still warm. Fire still going. But he's gone. His journal is open on the table. The last entry reads, "It keeps knocking. It looks like me now." They find his uniform days later, deep in the woods, folded neatly, with blood on the inside of the collar. Or take this one, 2020. A teen live streams a solo snow hike. Halfway through the stream, he stops, turns the camera, whispers, "That's not my dad." But his dad's voice is calling him from the woods. He runs, the stream cuts out. They find the phone days later, up in a tree, 10 feet off the ground, still recording. No sign of the boy. There's a recurring pattern in these reports. The Wendigo mimics. It whispers in familiar voices, draws people away from warmth, safety, and into the cold. Some survivors say it starts with dreams. You hear something scratching at the window. You see yourself standing at the foot of your bed. Then you stop eating. You feel colder than everyone else. You look in the mirror, and something's wrong. Your eyes aren't your own anymore. Let's talk about the hollow. It's a patch of boreal forest in northern Ontario. Over 40 people have vanished there since 1980. Campers, hunters, rangers, all in winter. A rescue team went in once 2007, 5 men. Only one came out. His face was pale, his fingers frostbitten down to the bone. He never said a word, just kept drawing antlers in the dirt over and over until he died. And then there's the 1993 case near Great Slave Lake. 3 forestry workers vanish. Their cabin was found with the doors torn off. Inside, the walls were clawed, but not by an animal, by fingers, human fingers, no footprints in the snow. Just one word scratched into the door frame: feed. Psychologists have a name for it: Wendigo psychosis. A cultural phenomenon, they say. A kind of madness born from starvation. But here's the question: how do you explain the mimicry? The calls in the voice of a dead loved one? The claw marks 20 feet off the ground? You don't, because deep down, you know what's out there. Something cold, older than memory. And it's hungry. There's one more story I want to tell you. It happened just last year. A man and his daughter were driving during a blizzard in Manitoba. Visibility was near zero. Something stepped into the road. He slammed the brakes. It looked like him. Same jacket, same build. His daughter whispered, "Dad, why are you outside the car?" But he was still driving. They got home hours later, shaken, silent. The next morning, they found handprints all over the outside of the house, and in the snow leading to the back door were bare footprints with claws at the tips. Some say the Wendigo doesn't kill you right away. It breaks you, makes you see things, makes you hear things. And then, just when you're too weak to run, too cold to scream, it takes your face and uses your voice to call the next one in. But this is where things get strange. There are reports of it spreading, moving south, appearing in places it was never seen before. There's a case I haven't told you yet. One that changes everything we think we know about it. It starts with a man alone in a cabin, middle of nowhere, a snowstorm rolling in. He thought he was safe. He was wrong. The man's name was Derek Halbrook, 42 years old, ex-military, no stranger to the wilderness. He'd spent the past 6 winters in a remote off-grid cabin in the Alberta Rockies. Self-sufficient, no wife, no kids. He liked the solitude. Or he used to. The first sign came in December. He told a friend in one of his rare emails that a deer had walked into his clearing at night. But not like any deer he'd ever seen. Its legs were too long. Its spine arched like it was broken, and its eyes, they glowed like burning coal. He fired a warning shot. It didn't move. He went inside, and then it smiled. The next email, 2 weeks later, was different. Short, sloppy. There's something out here. It knows my name. It talks like my father. His father had died when Derek was 12. Now, Derek had motion sensors set up around his property, standard security stuff. One day, they started going off. Always at night, always from different angles. And when he checked the camera footage, there was never anything there. Until there was. One clip, 3 seconds long. It showed something crawling across the snow. Not walking, crawling, fast, joints bent backward. Its mouth open like it was unhinged, not screaming, not breathing, just grinning. And behind it, long drag marks in the snow, like it was pulling something. Derek stopped emailing after that. Weeks later, a ranger was sent to check on him. The cabin was locked from the inside, no broken windows. No sign of a struggle, but Derek was gone. On the table was a note. It was in my dreams. Then it was in my skin, no body. Just a trail of footprints leading into the woods, barefoot, bleeding, and clawed. What makes this case different? The camera footage didn't just show the creature, it showed Derek, two of him. One inside, sleeping in bed, the other standing outside, smiling, watching, and when the ranger reviewed the footage again at HQ, it was gone. Just static, like it never existed. There are other cases like Derek's, unconnected, but all with the same signs. Dreams of something calling in a familiar voice. A tall figure outside the window that looks just like the person inside. Sudden cold spots. Obsession with fire, with warmth. And always the hunger. You see, the Wendigo doesn't just feed on flesh. It feeds on fear, on isolation, on identity. It waits until you start forgetting who you are. Then it moves in. Take the 2018 case in Ontario. A woman named Hannah began hearing her late sister's voice every night after moving into a rural home. The voice always came from outside. It begged her to open the door. One night, she did. She was found 3 days later, naked and freezing in the woods. She had pulled out her own teeth. Her lips were torn from screaming, but she was alive. What she kept repeating in the hospital was chilling. It wore her face, but it wasn't her. Or the 2003 Snow Patrol case. 4 search and rescue volunteers went looking for a lost hiker in a Quebec national park. Only one came back. He was missing 2 fingers. His eyes were bloodshot, and he refused to speak for months. When he finally did, he said, "It made us choose. One eats, one lives. The rest, join it." The bodies were never found, but one of the searchers' jackets was later discovered frozen to the side of a tree. Inside it was a mouth, human, sewn shut. Now let's talk about the mimicry, because this is what makes the Wendigo different from other legends. It doesn't roar, it doesn't chase, it calls, it uses voices, it pretends, it waits. One man in Alaska, 2022, reported hearing his wife calling to him from outside the house. Problem was, his wife had died the year before. The voice kept saying, "I'm cold, let me in." He nearly opened the door. Then the voice whispered something only his wife had said on their honeymoon. That's when he knew whatever was out there had seen her memories, had worn her words. He burned the house down that night and hasn't returned to the woods since. There's another layer to this. The Wendigo isn't always a beast. Sometimes it's a transformation. Stories speak of people turning into it. Slowly. After eating human flesh in desperation. After being alone too long in the cold, they get thinner, colder, their eyes sink. They stop blinking, then they vanish. What returns isn't them anymore. In the 1990s, an Inuit family disappeared in Nunavut. Weeks later, their eldest son came back, but he didn't speak, didn't eat, didn't blink. Elders said he was no longer human, that he had met the spirit of winter and brought it home. That village was abandoned within the year. Then there's the footage. 2016, dark web drone footage from the Rockies. It shows 2 figures running through the snow. Behind them, a third, long limbs, pale skin, dragging its fingers in the snow. The footage cuts out. But those who've seen it say at the end, the creature looks up, and it's wearing a man's face, pulled tight like a mask. No one knows how old the Wendigo is. Some say it came before man. Some say it was born the first time someone ate their kin to survive. Others say it's not a being at all, but a curse, a hunger that moves from soul to soul. A memory passed down by the land itself. But here's the worst part. Every year, more people go missing in the woods. Every winter, new stories surface. People found in the snow, eyes wide, mouths frozen open. Or not found at all, and always the same signs. A cabin in the forest, scratches on the inside of the door. A voice calling from outside. And antlers, seen just before dark. They say if you see the Wendigo, you're already dead. But maybe that's not quite true. Maybe it doesn't kill you. Not all at once. Maybe it takes pieces. First your warmth, then your voice, then your name. Until one day, you hear someone calling from the woods, and it sounds just like you. So if you're ever alone in the cold, and you hear something whisper in the dark, something familiar, something pleading, don't answer. Because it's not your friend, it's not your family, it's not even human. It's the Wendigo, and it's been waiting for you. Like, comment, and subscribe to stay aware of all things paranormal.